Three Grots in a Vox is intended for a mature audience. This means there will be crude language and discussions of adult themes, especially if we're talking about tactical marines or Gabriel Seth. Viewer discretion is not only advised but encouraged. All opinions are our own and often given for humorous purposes. Any advice is given largely for entertainment purposes and would probably be ignored. But if you do learn something useful, count it as a win.
The format will just be we'll look at the slides and we'll talk over the rules, and then
look
at the
at the
end
slides and talk.
We'll decide at the end. Yeah, it's super simple. All right.
Sorry, John. Let me just check this. We're going to look at some slides and then we're going to talk about them. Yeah.
That's the plan.
And
that's
sure?
the intro. That is going to be the intro to the video. If you didn't know what the fuck you're getting, well, that's what you're getting.
You're getting us three talking shit while drinking various things. I'm on tea at the moment, so there we go. What can I say?
Cool.
What's the video?
Has that guy got 3 barrels on his shotgun?
Is that 3? I thought it was 2. That's 2 and an underslung grenade launcher.
That's a pretty small grenade. Yeah, okay, so let's talk about Navy Breachers and Voidsmen. These are one like re-released kill team and one new kill team. They just got their rules updated for 9th.
Yep.
Ahead of this week's or next week's balance slate.
2 weeks.
I've made a couple of
week from the point.
We don't know when it's coming out. We just know it's soon.
It's very soon, yeah.
So knows when we're going to release this video.
So obviously, as a Imperium player, you can take these units. You can pretty much take 1 per detachment.
Because you can take exactly 1 per detachment. They have Agents of the Imperium keyword, as long as the detachment is a patrol or battalion or brigade. If it's any other type of detachment, nah, you can't do it.
Yeah, so do you want to...
If I went to run double Vanguard, I can't bring any Voidsmen.
Well, you can, but they break the faction purity rules.
Oh,
I didn't even know that. Okay, cool. Good to know. Let's go on to the second slide, and it is a very short video that we're doing. We're just going to talk
that wasn't nearly dramatic enough. I wanted some like movement. I wanted a next slide.
Oh yeah, change the sort of like have those wibbly transitions that you get on the slides. I didn't put any of those in my slides for later, but oh well, we'll get there.
Okay.
These used to be 40 points, didn't they?
They used to be 8 points a model. They're now 10, which you can see down here at the bottom. But what's interesting is they used to be elites, and now they are troops. And I think that has one major implication, which I guess we could just talk about right now. So for your 50-point squad, which is 1 Voidmaster plus 4 Voidsmen, they will now be able to guarantee a retrieve Nephilim data, because Nephilim data is not whether or not they have OBSEC, it's whether or not they have the troop battlefield role. So these guys are troops, so for 50 points exactly, you can put them in reserve at 2 power level, which is crazy cheap. And
obviously they will have synergies with other missions that do things with troops and OBSEC stuff as well, with all the actions that are inside them.
Well, they don't have OBSEC. That was the thing.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure, because it came up on stream, and that's why I wanted to do the video on them, because if you go and read the Space Marine special rules, like in the Codex Space Marine, it specifically says like Adeptus Astartes troops have OBSEC. It doesn't say troops have OBSEC, so they wouldn't have the Adeptus Astartes keyword. So that was what was confusing me. So these guys will do Nachman data, but really effectively, but they won't do like, set up a bomb on like tear down their icons because they're not OBSEC. So it's interesting that they made them really good at Nachman data, and obviously they've got the 25 mil bases, so really small bases. So fitting 5 of them in is like fitting in servitors. It's much easier to fit them in than like Adeptus Astartes Marines, right? So you would just need 5 of them, and then the other main thing that they changed now is you're going to get a Voidsman rotor cannon, which to me just basically looks like a sort of cut down assault cannon.
Yeah,
for free. There's no points cost on the rotor cannon.
It's not bad either. Strength 6, 4 shots, AP -1 damage 1. It's all right for free, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
a kick in the cock.
It's free. So your sergeant has a shotgun, the other 3 guys have a las gun, and you've got basically a heavy weapon now.
It's also worth noting that these do not count as part of the ability shipborne personnel on the datasheet there. They do not count as one of the troops that you have to include in your detachment. So if you're taking a battalion, for example, you've got to have 3 other troops, and then you can have one of these.
Yep. They can no longer go in transports, which was the rule that really confused people before, because there was some sort of like jankiness where they could go in transports that didn't have specific keywords. So they've just simplified this, and if they're ever within half range, or 12 inches, I guess is half range on 4 of the guns, but not quite on the shotgun, you're going to get an additional hit on rolls of 6s.
Okay. So
do you take a whole patrol of these guys to get any benefit? Because you could take, because I can see at the bottom there, you've got this rogue trader HQ choice. If you've got an HQ choice and troops choice, if you took a patrol detachment, would then you be able to give him obsec somehow?
You could take a rogue trader detachment, or Navis Imperialis detachment, as they would call them, and the HQ would be a rogue trader unit and a troops unit.
But then you wouldn't be Battleforged, right? If you were like a Space Marine faction, you would lose.
You'd lose some of the benefits you get for including detachments with different faction keywords in. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
The same way as if you're including Gilliman as a Lord of War is one of the other ways we looked at previously.
Correct. So yeah, the way
I think there's some way around that. But I can't see one.
The other thing that they did change as well is you used to have to pay 5 points for the Candid, which was basically like a way of doing...
Candid?
It's the dog. It's the
Canid. Sorry.
Canid.
Canid, sorry.
Candid would mean that they like
Canid.
taking pictures of people that aren't looking at them.
That's my accent. That's how I would say that.
Okay.
But
it'll cost another 10 points, would he? 'Cause it's 10 points per model.
He used to cost 5. Now I guess he just costs 10.
Yeah. And what does a dog do? He's just a dog. He
looks like
he doesn't do shit.
He's got 1 more strength for melee. He's got a couple extra attacks.
Okay. 10 points
2
for
more
a dog.
attacks, 1 point of weapon skill, and an extra point of strength.
Yeah. I'm not sure I feel like...
See much point in bringing it, except for the fact of bringing a dog. Yeah.
I think you obviously build it now to take your free roller cannon. You probably place them in reserve and use them primarily as action monkeys. NAC1 data seems like the perfect choice for them. And I don't think you ever take more than 5. Like, 50 points is great.
Yeah,
just take 5 of them. Lasguns.
Is there any transport they can go in?
No.
Not anymore. They can't go in any transport at all anymore. Well, no, I can't think of any transport they would be able to go in.
I don't think there's anything they can go in now.
No.
Because all your transports would say, like, Blood Angels, troops, or Blood Angels, whatever.
And they lack the
I wonder
ability
if when the Guard Codex comes out, like Valkyries or something, have got the Navis keyword, maybe.
Well, maybe, maybe there'll be something. But for Space Marines or Sisters or whoever else, Agents of Imperium, there's
anybody else, definitely not.
Okay, cool.
All right, so
I think this has made Voidsman less interesting for me, personally.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I've got 50 spare points to take a unit of something, then would I spend it on Voidsman, or would I spend it on a couple of company veterans and give them storm shields?
Or unit of servitors?
Yeah, I wouldn't spend it on servitors because I still haven't got any, and I still haven't found a good way to convert some. And I'd refuse to spend the money that a pair of servitors costs. But maybe one day.
Do you actually take Nephilim data much these days?
I think
I've taken it once since Nephilim came out.
I don't think I've taken it since Nephilim come out.
Well, I've been taking it. I think it's a safe choice in 2 really hard matchups. Because I feel like you're always going to be able to do like a minimum of 8 points, right? Because if you've got a 5-man unit of this, surely there's 1 quadrant on the enemy's side, you'll get them down in turn 2 or 3, and then that's you done 3 quadrants.
And then they're dead.
Yeah, they die. Yeah, inevitably. But for me, 50 points...
that's their thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's all they do.
Yeah.
There's 50 points to get Nakmund once.
Nakmund once,
once.
So they wouldn't have the Blood Angels keyword if you were playing Blood Angels, but it would be the same if you're playing any Space Marine faction. These guys could score you behind enemy lines or engage on all fronts as well. Those are things that they could do if they're... And those synergize with Nephilim data, obviously, right? Because you can do the same at the same time. And sometimes... when I'm playing an enemy, like a really fast enemy, like Eldari or, I don't know, orcs that are going to throw 1 million units into my deployment zone, I'm always scared of taking Relentless Assault, as a Blood Angels player because you never know how much shit's coming at you. So
and how hard it's going to be to outnumber them.
Yeah, so that's when I take behind enemy lines, and these guys would be, they can just hide in a building in one quadrant, and if they were ignored the whole game, because why are people going to go after them because they're not going to do any damage, then that would be 10 points. So I don't think they're
or they commit some resources to kill a 50-point throwaway unit.
Yeah, I think maybe you're right.
I think there's always a place for cheap stuff, isn't there?
Maybe they're less exciting now. Like, maybe you're right, but at the same time, I like the fact that if I can fit 5 of them on, that's a guaranteed Nephilim now. I don't have to roll a dice. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
it's just guaranteed. Fair. So, I don't think there's anything else to say on these guys. The extra 6 to hit when you're within 12 inches is like, meh. You're not
right. Well, the guns are mostly tapped. Yeah.
I mean,
how much does a unit of 5 scouts cost these days?
70, because I was looking at that the other night.
Because they can still go in the storm, and that used to be part of their thing. Was that you take a storm as well, and it gives them a little bit of durability, and then that's.
You'd also have to spend a CP to put these into strategic reserves, along with whatever else you're putting in the scouts. You wouldn't have to do that.
Yeah. So it's 70 points for the scouts with bolt guns. So I imagine the ones with snipers are. I think they're like 2 points per model.
I'll never take snipers anyway. To be honest, I think they're useless.
No, me neither. Scouts with combat knives are the best choice of scouts.
Especially Blood Angels.
Yeah, let's jump on to the Navy Breachers.
Okay.
So that's slide 3. Yeah, here we go. Yep. So they're kind of the same in terms of like if you like they're a guardsman essentially, right?
Yeah.
So same like toughness 3, 4 up save. The difference is where your last guys, I forget what they're called now, the Voidsmen, where they're getting on 6s to hit, you get an additional hit. These guys are getting void armor, which is essentially the same as armor of contempt, right? So like you can see it down here in the bottom left. Each time attack is allocated, you ignore or you remove 1 point of AP. So they're on a 4 up save, but they've got armor of contempt. There's no flexibility on the squad size, so you're taking 10 regardless.
It's always going to be minimum of 110 points. Okay.
Yeah, and then at that point, I was thinking, like, what was the reasoning to take 10 of these guys? Well, maybe you could just screen the backfield, and then my question was, like, but wouldn't you just take infiltrators if you wanted a squad that was about 110? Because infiltrators are, 10 points more? Arguably, they got a better save. They got more stratagems you could use to survive. These guys do have smokescreen as well, which is interesting enough. But why would you take...
Give them a couple of good guns, can't you, as well?
Yeah, so they're toughness 3. What they do get is one model gets to take this endurance shield, which is the shield here you're seeing sort of front and center with the guy with the bolt or the shotgun leaning on the shield. So that basically gives one model a 5 up in Vun and a 3 up save. Because it's +1 to save and a 5 up in Vun. You can obviously cast smokescreen. And then, yeah, one model has equipped with a Navis Las Volley, which is like basically the same cannon that is the rotor cannon, heavy 4, strength 6 -1 damage, and then everybody else is equipped with like the shotguns, and your one model has the heavy shotgun. The heavy shotgun is I can't see it now. It's probably the Navis shotgun is a standard shotgun, and the heavy shotgun is basically assault 4 standard shotgun. So it's basically
it just gets 2 more shots.
A double-barreled shotgun, is it? So yeah, the neat tricks are the smokescreen. Yes, they can have some weapon options, like you can put in like a chain fist, you can put in a power axe, I think you can put in a melter or a plasma. They get one thing that was also unique to them that I haven't seen before, which is called a demolition charge, which is at the bottom of the weapon profile, which is grenade D6, strength 8, -3, 2 damage, and it's blast, but you can only use it once per battle, and it's going to cost you 10 points if you want to take it. 10 points for...
Is that better or worse than the guardsman one? Because guard, of course, get demo charges.
Well, maybe it's the same thing.
If there's
maybe it's
where there's used to be more damage than 2.
The only demo charge I can remember is the one on Slime Arbo.
I know, that was wicked.
So
completely going on a tangent. I'm definitely thinking for 10th, I might build some Cassagens.
Yeah. So I guess these guys are troops too. So I guess if you wanted to do NAC1 data with them, they could be good. I mean, it's... One thing that Marines don't have is we don't have a way of getting 10 models that can spread out like that for 110 points. So that's like the only advantage I can see to those guys. However, I was struggling to think, like, how would you use that in a game to your advantage? is there an advantage to having 10 models of guard?
I don't see any situation in which I'd add these to my Blood Angels army.
You're giving up no prisoners a lot easier, aren't you? You're thinking, here's a cheap way of my opponent scoring points for no prisoners.
Is there any Marine army or Sisters army or something that you would consider them for? Or are they just a kill team only, really, and they've just got 40k rules for fun?
They're beautiful models. They're lovely. If you want to field them because they're cool models, then great. I can't see a reason why you'd play them. I don't even understand where they get a benefit for the smokescreen keyword from, because doesn't that stratagem, at least in the Space Marines Codex, say use it on a Space Marines unit? So where is there a stratagem that allows you to use the smokescreen keyword on these? I have no idea.
That's probably a Games Workshop mistake, or maybe the Guard Codex is gonna, arguably the Guard Codex is gonna move the same way, where things have a smokescreen keyword rather than smoke launchers, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe. It's just a thought. There's probably somewhere that I haven't read, which is entirely possible.
So a big...
No, I don't. How many special weapons can you kit them out with maximum? Not many, really, is there?
The sergeant...
One can have a melter gun or a plasma gun.
Yeah.
One can have an auto pistol and an axe. One can have an auto pistol chain fist. No, you can't even just load them up with special weapons to get use out of them that way.
They might be a better guard squad than a guard squad if you're playing guard.
If you're doing that, wouldn't you just take some Tempestus Scions, though, and have them to better effect?
Well, they don't get... These guys are a little bit more durable than that. So if you wanted a slightly more durable but still quite cheap unit that you could sit on something, then this would meet that criteria. I'm really struggling. I'm scraping the barrel here. I'm just thinking, I don't want Scions, but I want slightly tougher than Guard.
Yeah, the only thing I can see
and,
is...
And tougher than Scions, actually, because they're 4 up with armor contempt, essentially.
At the moment, anyway.
It's like 10 shotguns, but like Scouts can have shotguns.
Yeah, they can.
I guess if you actually compare these to Scouts, like if you were going to take a 10-man Scout squad, which I don't really think you would at 14 points per model, but if you were going to take a 10-man Scout squad, then these guys would be arguably slightly better than the Scout squad, because you've got the shield.
30 points less, but lose infiltrate.
Yeah. And I guess the
Scouts, strength 4, toughness 4.
I was going to say the Scouts would have 1 more toughness, wouldn't they? So...
Nah. I'm not feeling it on these guys.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it either. Cool looking models though. Don't get me wrong. The kill teams and the...
I can't see us taking either of them, to be honest. I can see an edge case where you bring the other ones, and that's I want to do Nakmund, and I don't want to spend the points to bring...
The Voidsmen feel like a nice tool to have in your toolbox. The Breachers, I don't really see much point having them to call on, because I can't see a situation where you need them.
I was going to say...
If they're deep strike, maybe I'd think about them, because then at least maybe you could drop them on an objective, but...
Good. I don't need another excuse to buy another squad that will take me forever to get painted, so we can put the Breachers in the bin. We can say that if you are going to do Nakmund, you do it with a 5-man Voidsman unit, and that's it.
Voidsman, yeah.
And 50 points, that's it. And then maybe you try and engage on all fronts or behind enemy lines, or maybe put up a bomb or something if they're still alive.
Sounds good. On the subject of Tony and Catechans, did you see the Catechen entry in the Golden Demon article?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you might have.
I've always had this thing. Do you remember they did the special Catechen Lieutenant model with the Power Fist that went only to individual retailers, but none of the individual retailers that I spoke to got one.
Yeah.
I really wanted that. I still love the idea of building a Predator kind of themed Catechen army.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who doesn't love Predator?
That's what I mean. I'm going to go to the fish shop and buy a load of like fish plants that you put in the end of plastic ones, so I can jungle them.
Okay, so this is a new type of video we're doing on the channel. Sometimes smaller, bite-sized. If you did enjoy it, please subscribe. We're back every second week for a big podcast content, which we know you guys love and want to see more of.
They're like snotling videos, smaller than Grots.
Yeah. I keep calling the squats.
Snotling video.
I keep calling the squats Grots. And I guess that's... I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but every time I mention the squats, I'm just saying the Grots. Well, these are the squats.
Grots, snot, squats. James works snot. Yes, I don't know, whatever.
All right, so enjoy your breakdown of these 2 units, and we'll see you guys soon.
Pick that one. Not that one.
That one.
No, we don't like that one. We like that one more. I think they're both shit.
Are we saying that one?
I was going to say, he's been a very naughty boy.